The RAM shortage is here to stay, likely resulting in raised prices on PCs and phones. Yes. Thank you, International Data Corporation, IDC, for verifying what everyone else, I think, has known for a while. IDC market analysis finds that because memory makers like Micron, Samsung, and SK Hynix are shifting supply to AI data centers, stock is tightening for everyday devices, and companies that compete on low price with budget products are getting hit hardest and are responding by raising prices or cutting features. Apple and Samsung have secured their supply early, as if that's going to stop them from raising prices. But PC makers like Dell, HP, Acer, etc. are already signaling price increases as memory costs climb. So yes, it's another Rampocalypse topic, but there are a couple of new things that that make this not like what we've seen before. So first, something that we have seen before, Valve discontinued the least expensive Steam Deck. This was the $400 LCD model that was sometimes on sale for as little as $350. It has been quietly discontinued, and quietly all of the remaining stock was snapped up. So now the cheapest Steam Deck, I believe, is the OLED. Hold on a second, I'm trying to find it. My search here is not fine. Is it in the doc? Oh yeah, here it is. So now the most affordable option is the 512 gig OLED version for $550. Oh, man. The Steam Deck was the affordability of the Steam Deck was such a game changer, like for PC gaming. And to be clear, I have hope that affordable Steam Deck will return. It's just that you can't do anything about your supplier cost.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's fair to...
I don't think Valve wants to do this at all.
I don't think it's fair, yeah, exactly, to be mad at Valve over their incoming supply, over their sourcing costs going up a lot.
And to be clear, I like to often point out their 30% take and how they're not quite the
benevolent gods
that people say that they are. Pretty freaking cool.
They're quite
in a lot
based
of ways.
Often, but the way that Valve has approached gambling, for instance, the way that Valve just kind of takes their take and imperfect algorithmic, etc., and not standing up to payment processors around us just being allowed to spend our money however we like, which should be the way that it works. Valve is not perfect. However,
this is one of the ways that they've actually been super cool for a long time, is they're really not. They understand the model of, we're going to sell you this thing and it's going to have our store on it and you're going to buy our games and that's great. Therefore, the thing doesn't have to be too expensive. And they've been keeping stuff like the Steam Deck like really cheap for a long time. And I don't think there's a shift here where they're like, oh, RAM prices are up, we can loot people now.
No, I don't think it's that way.
I'm for sure happening. I'm for sure that's happening at some companies somewhere, and I really don't think it's happening.
So basically, we're not bootlicking Valve. We're just trying to make sure that our anger right now is directed at the correct sources.
We're going to start having like fancy restaurant pricing for things where it just says like market price on everything. And the market price is just dictated by RAM.
I don't know. I feel like that's something that I did not get across very well last week when I was trying to talk about the sort of perspective shift. A lot of that whole conversation went up on LMG Clips, and a lot of people were extremely mad about it. In fairness, I did not open the conversation very tactfully.
Yeah.
But the point I was trying to...
If I can interject for a moment...
What you're referring to as tactless was in fact tactless plus...
I think part of the problem is that you script think out loud. I've been thinking about this since you mentioned it before the show. And I think that was Linus script thinking out loud, which is where you kind of start with this dramatic position.
Oh, I see.
And then you distill it and you research it and you massage it into a well thought out argument that ends up being a script. and you script thunk out loud on WAN show, and people were like, oh!
A lot of people didn't watch that far into the clip, I can tell you that much. But basically what I was trying to get across, and so a lot of the comments are about how, like, well, you got to understand that, like, housing is way more expensive and healthcare is way more expensive. We have a lot of American viewers. And food is way more expensive and computers are way more expensive. And I guess, like, what I was trying to get across last week is, like, if for the last, I mean, realistically, the whole thing kind of goes back to sometime in the 70s when wages just completely decoupled from corporate earnings, because they track pretty close up
For
until
a long
like
time.
70s, 80s.
Yeah.
I wonder what happened back then. I don't know. Who knows? No one knows. But they track pretty close up until then, and then they just completely decoupled from each other. And I guess the point that I was trying to make last week is, like, if you've been having the shit kicked out of you for 50 years by housing and food and housing and food are and utilities and essentials.
That's happening right now too. Energy prices are going through the roof.
And clothing. And then all that time, gaming has been there for you, with a full retail game being $60 somehow, in spite of everything else going like this. And computers have been there for you like this, while everything else has gone like this. And flat screen TVs have been there for you like this, while everything else has gone like this.
And flat screens are still there for some reason.
Somehow. I guess what I was trying to get across last week was that, yes, this RAM pricing blip really sucks, especially if you have to buy some RAM right now. But compared to the absolute beating that all of these other essentials have been dishing out, it still hasn't even remotely kept up with how much everything else has gone up. And it sucks. And especially the reason sucks. Like the fact that it's just so that we can have more AI that I don't think anyone, especially in this community, is really asking for.
Yeah, a massive amount of the output that I see from those systems is junk that no one wants. So if we didn't just make all the junk that no one wants, this probably wouldn't be happening legitimately.
So yeah, I guess what I was trying to get across is, like, guys, the fact that we can still buy a Steam Deck for $550, that's a lot worse than $400, which is how much we could buy it for a week ago. For how much value and how much entertainment and how much we can extract from that Steam Deck for $550, all I was trying to say is, hey, let's not be super mad at Valve about this. You can be mad about the situation. You should be mad about the situation. Like, dude, I was reading about how much the big food lobby has engaged with the current administration to defang the good parts of the Make America Healthy Again initiative.
Oh, really?
And it's been, like, unprecedented. They're all spending at rates that are like at least decade-long highs, in some cases all-time highs, to just defang all this stuff. You should totally be mad. You should be super mad right now.
So many things. There's honestly too many things to be mad about.
But I do feel like in some ways, and this is what I was talking about with the perspective adjustment, I feel like in some ways our passion for gaming and our passion for technology is making it so that we are more angry at this thing that we love than at the things that have actually been beating the shit out of us far more over a much longer period of time. And I don't think I did a great job of explaining that, but I was trying to be more positive.
Thinking.
I was trying to be a little more positive. And you know what? It's funny because there was a time, probably about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. I'll stop. It's so dead. It's like so dead at this point.
That's when it becomes fun. I am that old guy.
Did you just dab?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
I'm not even doing it properly. There we go. Yeah. See, now it's fun. Now it's fun.
I can't even do it right, but okay. Anyway, there was somewhere between
totally fake Arthur and Full Chats. Mods ban them.
somewhere between 5 and 8 years ago.
There you go. There you go.
We were really leaning into more negativity in our content. More like anger at the stagnation
rants.
in like silicon improvements, more rants. And Yvonne actually kind of like sat me down and was like, okay, listen, is that good for anybody? Does that help anybody? Does that help anybody get a better deal on their next computer?
Based Yvonne.
Does that help anybody, feel more positive about the system that they're building to like play games? Like, can you find a positive side? And I kind of went, okay, yeah. Like I think I can. Like, excuse me, the Steam Summer Sale is still there for us. You know, there's so many games that come out these days that do not have high system requirements. And like, I know that there's a large, extremely vocal part of the community that is very angry about new games having high system requirements that can't be run without upscaling or frame generation or whatever else. And it's like, whoa. Like, you could probably count on your fingers and toes those releases. Whereas every week, Steam gets flooded with many games that are a lot of fun to play that you don't have to do any of that for. You can play on a 10-year-old Linux computer.
It's a very interesting tone shift because of how much people liked Crysis.
I know.
Because it was practically impossible to run. And it was like fun trying to see if you could and stuff like that, yeah.
But okay, you know what? I think that is such a critical point that you've landed on there. Because why are people yelling at me over on LMG Clips? Why are people yelling at...
Well, the way you framed your argument sucked.
No, hold on, Hold on.
Okay.
You know, why are people yelling at game developers for building games that demand the fastest computers? Why are people angry at all of these places that didn't create the problem? Well, it's because of that passion. That's exactly what I was talking about. So back then, they didn't have, at least to the same degree that it's there now, all these external stressors.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That are impeding on their ability to
It was so much easier to just live.
To splurge on a new GPU.
Yeah.
Or that could make it so you could aspire to one day owning a system that could run it. It's the hopelessness that is actually caused by all these other factors. I mean, when was the last time on WAN Show? Okay? Think about it. When was the last time we talked about a technology industry hiring Wave? Who is our fucking audience?
Yeah, it would have been early COVID. It happened, would have been early COVID. Something that I think is interesting, just on this topic, we started this company in your garage.
Yeah.
That was a normal thing for companies with very low amounts of money to do back then. Most people don't have garages anymore. Like that is, if now, that would have been a privileged position.
Yep.
Which is nuts.
Even then, it was a privileged position. I mean, I remember Yvonne and I shopping for our house and pushing ourselves for a detached house.
There are cheaper detached houses that have garages.
And that was with her. Well, okay. I mean, yes, but also not by as much as you might think. We were already in the burbs. It wasn't like a large house.
You can get, I mean,
by those standards.
Yeah.
It was older. It was old when we bought it, but not like cool, heritage.
Not retro.
No, it was just old.
Yeah. Whatever it's called, something modern.
And so we almost bought like a row home.
Yeah.
That was what was like kind of comfortable. And then we pushed ourselves hard. And you've got to remember that I am married to someone who I don't think really clued in to how exceptional she is until I finally did it. I think I got through to her. We were in the Costco parking lot. We were kind of like walking into the store, and I was like, yeah, you know, I always like knew, but I never really thought about how insane it is that you got hired as the manager of a Costco pharmacy at 23. That is fucking insane. Just graduated, major corporation,
Straight to manager.
super high hiring standards, straight to managing a department with functionally no experience. I mean, she had some pharmacy work experience from her practicum, and I think she had like a year's experience working at, or half a year's experience or something working at Save-On in the pharmacy there. And she went straight to managing a department. And I was like, I was thinking about it because I don't think we've ever seen, and no offense to the many, many very talented people who work for and who have applied at Linus Media Group, I don't think we have ever seen anyone who's walked in at 23 and we've gone, holy shit. We will hire this person to manage a team of 15 to 20 people immediately. And she was like, oh yeah, I never really thought about that before. And I was like, yeah, okay, have I finally gotten through? So anyway, the point that I was getting at here is that was with the benefit of her working as a pharmacy manager, which is not normal for our cohort. I should not have been married to someone that was making six figures. I also dropped out and got I worked hard, and I like to think that I'm also not stupid, right? But I got pretty lucky. Not everyone who took an entry-level job at NCIX advanced to senior management in 4 years or whatever, 5 years or whatever it was.
I do think you're making all this comparison, which is all fair, but that house was more expensive than a lot of other options that were around.
No, that's what I'm saying.
And the
though.
location makes it way more expensive. If we're looking at like the North Americas as a whole,
sure,
it was relatively common to have a garage available to start your company at that year.
So, okay, I was looking at it from like a Vancouver market perspective. You're looking at it from a North America wide.
Culturally, for people who would have watched the video.
Yeah, that makes sense.
For the largest demographic of people that would have watched the video.
In Vancouver, even then,
it was still
a garage was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was because Yvonne and I just like teamed up and lifed together hard from 18, which is also not normal.
Yes.
Like I look back and I go, if I'd had to solo it for some period of years, right? Instead of having a partner, everything would have been way harder. Absolutely everything.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, no, and now, I mean, there are still places that are cheap. Every once in a while, I'll just like, I'll jump onto a real estate listing site, and you know, you'll find like a detached home that's, you look at it and you go, yeah, I couldn't even buy like an empty lot in like Chilliwack for that.
It's priced knowing that you're going to have to somehow get rid of all the material that is the current house.
No. Well, no, in some parts of the States and stuff, like you can buy a whole house like that you can live in tomorrow for like less than what you'd pay for an empty lot in Chilliwack.
Because I've walked through places around here that like seem like they're nicely priced, and then as you're walking through it, the wood in the floor is so like rotten and moldy that you're like concerned you're going to fall through the floor, and there's just like doom and treachery around every corner. It can get pretty sketch on the cheaper end.